fantastic.
It's over. We're done. We can go home now. That's
yeah, I think that was the ending credits.
Yeah, it was the ending.
I always know because of Dax's voice.
Everybody's on the ball here today on a happy Monday morning. How you doing, my friend?
I am good. How are you, fella?
I'm okay. You look a little bit dazed there.
Well, I've switched my monitors, so now hello, Mama Deadhead.
Hey,
my monitors
Sarah, how you doing?
My monitors are up on the wall, and so
Oh,
I have
shit.
I have a standing desk now, so I can lower it and raise it. So
Oh,
now I'm
nice.
looking up, so it looks like I'm like, huh? Instead of looking at the camera, I'm always looking at you.
You need like a little monitor lower just to have me on your screen on the desktop or something.
I also tend to just look dazed anyway.
That's true.
But
your busy week.
Yeah, when we came back from the show there, we had a good show last week, and then I was just trying to get back on track. Yeah. I had a lot of stuff I wanted to get done because we got a raid retreat coming up Friday. So
that's true. Yeah, I'm so looking forward to that.
Yeah, and I spent most of the weekend just working on Sheldon's illustrations for To Steal the Sun.
You mean this book right here?
Whoa, is that it? What?
Oh, snap.
Wow. The internet shuts down. No, too close to the screen.
This guy arrived the other day. We were going to surprise Sheldon with it, but there was a mole. There's a DE mole here on location, and he let
I'm going to talk to that fella. I'm going to let Rebecca know.
So we're super excited to start preparing these for fulfillment. We're just waiting on some of the dice and different things, the little extras that are still about to come in. Oh, Rob's. Why is Rob on the same book I do?
And in 3D sound. I love how he comes in. He never mutes.
That was weird. Okay. But so we're super excited to get that puppy out as soon as we get the little extras in and done. The book looks good though. We're really happy with it, and I hope Sheldon will be pleased with the final outcome. Basically,
well, what I've seen of it looked fantastic. I'm very blessed and honored to be part of it with the few illustrations I did. So
it's nice to get the back illustration there by you.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And we got the front spread by you here.
Rob's telling you not to put anything in front of the camera because it's blurry as F.
There you go. I just have to let it focus.
It keeps looking at those sweet, sweet eyes of yours.
Oh, I know, right?
The dreamy.
The bedroom eyes.
The video captures dreamy. And
oh my lord.
No, so that's exciting, but
super exciting. And speaking of exciting, we got our last week of our Kickstarter campaign for Raid 4.
Yes. 4 more days, right?
4 more days. This Thursday evening, I believe at 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. is the final countdown for the book.
Also,
sorry, go on.
Oh, sorry, that Thursday, just to slide in a little bit about me, that's my birthday, so support us.
Oh, there you go. Birthday present for Eric.
Yeah.
Well, we were saying on this morning's update that any dollar value we get, we're obviously putting it into the book, but anything above and beyond the net profits of this Kickstarter will go to the creators. So every artist, every writer gets a little bit extra for their time creating the content for the book, right?
Totally.
Because everybody donates their time to put it out there. So this is our way of kind of saying thank you and getting money back in the pockets of the creators as well, right?
Yeah. No, it's been a great project to work on. I know it had a little hit some snags along the way, but we had Sheldon's Kickstarter going, and it did,
We had lots of things. We had a pandemic. We had other but we're learning, right? And
well, the time it took was the time it needed.
Exactly. And just earlier today, we hit our stretch goal of. I believe it was 45,000.
Yeah.
We're just a little bit over, which is great. We keep getting, getting some new backers, some old backers are deciding to say, fuck these guys, we're out of here.
300%, eh? That's great.
Yeah, so it's pretty awesome. And so this means at this point, we're adding 10 extra pages to the book.
It's just 3 days to go.
What?
3 days to go, yeah. So 24 hours. So tomorrow, yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, that's about right. And so now we've just basically, we got the 10 extra pages. We got a heavier cardstock for the cover. And we're going to be announcing our next stretch goal tomorrow morning to take us through to the end, basically.
Nice. I'm curious how high we'll get it. It's going to be very exciting in the last couple of days.
We're pointing to the bleachers. We hope we can get a bit more there and get, like I said, get a nice book, but also money into the creators' hands, which will be very, very awesome. And
what is the plan for Thursday then? It's 8:30. There's like closing ceremonies or something.
Yeah, we're doing a live closing ceremonies with as many people who want to join us, asking questions, putting up special things. We might be dropping some special last-minute tiers for those because we've had a lot of interest in the coin and the print, basically, which has gone. Like they've been sold out through all the tiers already. But like I said, we've had some cancellations, so we're thinking maybe that because of the few tier cancellations, we might give back and take those coins and prints we've recouped basically and put it out there for any last minute people who are interested in picking up a coin and print combo, just get it out there to everybody basically.
Yeah, I love all the stuff we got it for so far. It's really looking slick. You do such a good job of like laying it all out in your graphic design sense. I love it. It's exciting. I can't wait for my Arden one day. Yeah, Sheldon, are you listening, Sheldon?
Coming, yes. And we're not sure if Rob has it up on, but we have a couple other Kickstarters coming up in mid-April, and we have, and in May basically, we have Kookaburra and Forest Folk coming up in the next 2 months. So there's 1 and 2 Forest Folk, and we also have
nice.
There's also I know. Well, yes, that's it. So we got some people. If you want to go to these pages, there should be a title card which we can run later, which has the information needed with the URLs people can click onto if they want to get on the notify list. There we go.
Oh, look at that!
April 11th and May 2nd. We got 2 more books coming out, both all ages. The wonderful volume 2 of Forest Folk and the first volume of what I hope to be
Kookaburra. What?
Kookaburra, I know, right? So it's gonna get ridiculous.
Finally, buddy.
Ridiculous spring.
Speaking of Forest Folk, I got all my stuff from Dax. Look at this commission he did for me.
Sweet.
So this is one of the I can't get this camera. One of the tiers I asked for. I did this character for the as a an add-on print.
Yeah.
For the campaign because she's great, and I said, hey, can you draw her for me? So in my mind, I was like, I want her in like a Dragoneer's outfit. So he did like a Celeste Dragoneer's outfit from Arden, and I think that's probably Makoto's Wolf Kinu or something.
That's awesome.
I loved it. So Dax did a great job. Thanks, buddy, and I'm excited to hang that up. So just imagine what Forest Folk 2 campaign will bring.
Exactly. And Mama Deadhead, Sarah, you are correct. Anybody who signed up for any physical tier gets all stretch goals. So people right now are getting the 2-sided poster. They're getting the fridge magnets. They're getting all the physical extras in the book as well. So yeah, I can't wait to have this book done and in my hands just to give out to people. And we got a lot of shows lined up this year to hopefully, get them in people's hands as well.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. So I think that's is that all the housekeeping?
I think so. It's been a busy spring, and there's still lots to go, but I think that's us caught up here a little bit.
Yeah,
we got, and then we got some drawing to keep busy, but we got a good guest here to keep us company while we're doodling away here.
That's true.
We're gonna be I don't even know how long it's been since I met Alexia at a New York Comic Con. It must be at least 6 to 10 years ago. I'm lost track. Maybe not 10, but let's bring her on board. This is Alexia, and she's also got a Kickstarter going right now as well. So, we're going to see her tackle some of the artwork from the book. And Alexia, the book, you've got what, 3 days left on this as well?
We're hitting the 48-hour mark pretty quickly, actually.
Oh,
so
48 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. So I'm hoping Rob can throw up the, I know it's a long, long link. So hopefully he can find it. But it's 47 Furious Tales. The link is below in the YouTube and Facebook channels. So it is there if people want to click it and check it out. Alexia here is the artist, and we're going to get along and find out about a bit more about you, your skills, and your cool history of getting into comics.
My cool history.
Cool history. It better be cool. If it's not
Nice
cool,
to meet you, Alexia. I have not met you before, so
nice to meet you, Eric.
Nice to meet you. I would say a fellow Dutchman, but I was not born there. But I did live there when I was younger, so I spoke the language and everything, and didn't speak English anymore. A lot of that has left me, but I was there for almost 2 years with my family, and all of my mom's side are still over there, and I love Holland.
It's so nice and flat.
What's that?
It's so nice and flat.
Nice
and
flat, and very, very fresh, and it's always raining, which is great. But it doesn't get too cold, it doesn't get too warm, wonderful. And it's quite nice there.
Except that it rains all year round, which is very depressing.
It can be. I was there in January for 10 days, and it was nice to see all the fam and everything. I lived in Barneveld, which was everything's an hour and a half from Amsterdam, so that's pretty much where it was.
Yeah.
To the
east. That's the great thing about having such a small country. Everything is an hour and a half away from everything else.
Totally.
There you go.
And
everything was closed in Amsterdam because of COVID, unfortunately. So one day we were there, we're like, let's just, because Belgium didn't give a shit. They're like, everything's open. So we booted down to Antwerp for the day because, again, everything is 2 hours to an hour and a half away. So we took the day and we spent there in Antwerp, and it was absolutely beautiful. It felt normal to travel, and I really missed it. But yeah, it was great, and I definitely miss Holland. So it was nice to hear. I was like, Veldhuisen, that's a Dutch name, I believe. And then as soon as you started talking, I'm like, oh, there's that accent.
You get the accent there a little bit.
I recognize my mom has an accent like that. I know.
Yeah. How long have you been? You're in New York now, aren't you?
New Jersey.
New Jersey. How long have you been in New Jersey?
For 10 years now, going on 11. Mm-hmm.
Is that when you first moved over to the States?
Yeah. Yeah, so your assessment of us having met 10 years ago, I think, is fairly accurate.
Yeah? I know. Yeah. I remember it was a New York Comic Con, but I was just trying to figure out when, it was. I know you had either you were in your last year or you had just graduated the Hubert school when I met you. I can't recall.
Okay, well, that I can't remember.
Maybe in the middle of the years there. I remember you talking about being in school or just near finishing, basically, which is pretty cool. Like a lot of the people we've had on the show have been to school for illustration, animation, and a lot of the alumni we've had here have been all from our local school, which has kind of been weird.
True.
But you're the first person we've got on here that actually has gone to an official, or the official actually, because the Hubert school is one of the oldest comic book schools in I would say the world. I guess I think it's the first one. I'm not sure. Did you have a good experience there? Was it like everything you had hoped it would have been?
It was everything I hoped it would have been, and a whole bunch of things I never expected. And I certainly didn't expect to be drawing as much as I have. I don't think I've ever drawn as much in my entire life as I have over there.
Well, how long was the curriculum? Was it 1 year, 2 years, 4 years?
So it's a 3-year program, nice. But it's three. They kind of jam 4 years into 3 because they give you 10 classes. Mm-hmm. And they're not optional. You have to take all 10 classes. So you get 10 assignments every week. And 8 out of 10 of those assignments are going to be comic-related art. So you're basically just drawing 24/7.
So did they run you through everything, including like lettering in that sort of thing as well?
Yeah, they taught us when I was there, which is now 10 years ago. Things have changed a little bit since then, for the better, I might add. But yeah, they taught us lettering. I was taught lettering first year for one semester by Hy Eisman, who's one of the original cartoonists on Popeye. Who was also a friend of he was a friend of Joe Hubert. So when Joe started the school in '76, I believe, he just brought all his friends over.
That's amazing.
So but yeah, so we were taught lettering, we were taught Illustrator, so we were taught a little bit of design, and Photoshop, and everything in between. So yeah, it was a little bit of everything.
So does that mean, like, on your current comic, you're doing the lettering for the book as well as the art?
No, I am not doing the lettering, because lettering is definitely a separate trade. And it is not my forte by any means. I will openly admit that. So better to have somebody else letter it, because it shows when lettering isn't done well, which is such a shame.
No, for sure, yeah. People are often like, "Oh, you just get someone else to letter it," and it's like, no, it actually takes a skill set to.
It really does. It really does. So
to get it, especially, you'll notice bad lettering, but you won't notice good lettering, because it kind of just blends in and it's unobtrusive, basically.
What are you currently working on there, Alexia?
So currently, I'm working on a page for 47 Furious Tales issue 3.
Nice.
I figured I would do something that I can do while I'm talking to you guys. So let me show you the full screen. So this is it's not much of a spoiler, because we put page 1 and 3 on the campaign page, and this is page 2. So this is what happens in between.
Awesome.
And the reason why I didn't put up page 2 yet, or hadn't finished it, was because the particular post in the middle was really tricky to get down. So that had me stuck for a long time, and I had to walk away from it and come back to it and try to fix it.
Oh, for sure. I know that feeling.
Yep. So that's where I'm at right now.
47 Furious Tales. Does this have to do with the 47 Ronin to some degree?
It certainly does. So 47 Furious Tales is the retelling of the legend of the 47 Ronin.
Awesome.
But with squirrels.
I love it.
I want to
reminds me a little bit of Redwall.
Yeah. It's a lot of people say that it's a little bit of Redwall, it's a little bit of Usagi Yojimbo, it's a little bit of TMNT. So
that's great. I worked on Redwall, the animated TV show, back in 2001 or 2002. Yeah, for Nelvana. I had to do a lot of like prop designs, environment designs. Anyway,
well, that's cool. I didn't know that.
And how did you? The writer is I think it's William or W.S. Quinton.
Yeah, he goes by Sam Quinton.
Oh, Sam. How did you guys connect? But
apparently that's also a prison. Apparently Sam Quinton is a prison in the United States, so he had to change it to W.
Oh, there you go. He's actually watching right now. He's watching you work.
Yeah.
So how did you guys connect on this project?
So that actually happened through a mutual friend of ours who I know through the Hubert school. This mutual friend was basically approaching me and said, "Hey, I have this friend. He just started this publishing company, and he's looking for fantasy illustration." And I was between work at the time, and I was basically trying to desperately not have to go back to my coffee shop day job. So I basically just asked my friend, I was like, "Well, is he a good guy? Do you trust him?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I totally trust him. I vouch for him. I've known him for a very long time." So I was like, okay, that goes a long way among artists. So so I approached Sam in the most formal way possible, which is funny now because we're really good friends. So, but at the time it was like, "Dear Mr. Quinton, I would like to apply, blah, blah, blah." And he was basically very, very professional. He was basically looking for fantasy and RPG related stuff, which I had never done before in my life.
Oh, interesting.
But, no time like the present, or no time like a new project to get started on something completely different and new that you've never done before.
Oh, for sure.
So, so I did some fantasy illustrations for him, knowing next to nothing about high fantasy at the time, or Dungeons and Dragons or any of that stuff.
Yep.
Pretty cool.
But
stuff.
I ended up. Thank you. That's actually
nice.
a homage to a J. Scott Campbell cover.
Yes, I'm a big fan of J. Scott Campbell. I got a lot of his stuff.
Me too. But yeah, so that's how we got started in 2017, and we had a Facebook work group going on just between him and all the freelance artists that he's working with. Most of them actually are Hubert grads.
Okay.
Because of that mutual connection.
Yep.
And he put up this idea on the group saying, what about if we do the Legend of the 47 Ronin and we're going to have everybody be anthropomorphic animals? And for some miraculous reason, I was checking Facebook that day and I saw that post and I was like, I call dibs. This is mine. Like I jumped on that immediately.
What was that?
Because it's samurai stuff.
Yeah, because you're a big samurai fan?
Samurai stuff.
Yeah. I'm a big samurai fan, so it was a no-brainer for me.
Oh, nice.
I'd never drawn animals much before that, so that was also very interesting.
Oh, I bet.
But, yeah.
So have you looked at anybody like, I'm totally blanking on the artist's name, but Black Sad?
Juan Guarnido.
Like yeah. I know
So,
a lot of...
I started looking at Juanjo Guarnido a lot, especially because what I like about Black Sad is the way that him and the author pick
the animals?
particular animals for particular archetypes.
Yeah, I know, it's fantastic.
It works so well. It's just the fact that, it's a detective noir and then they decide to make the detective a black cat was just perfect. So they're very, very conscious about those choices. So even though I was looking at his, particularly when I was trying to figure out the style for 47, I realized it was a little too cartoony for what we were doing. But I definitely took a lot from the idea of using certain archetypes as certain animals.
Yeah.
Because it works really, really well. And then I was looking at Ashley Wither's Squarriors, which is it's put out by Devil Stews Publishing, so not a lot of people have heard of it, unfortunately. But it's actually a very, very beautiful book.
Okay.
And it's set in this post-apocalyptic world where all animals have suddenly gained like the intelligence of humans, and they're all talking to each other, and they form tribes and everything. And one of those tribes is made out of warrior squirrels, just regular old squirrels, but with weaponry and such.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
But the thing about Ashley Withers' stuff is she does everything digitally, and it looks very realistic.
Okay.
So again, I was like, this is not really what I'm going for. I was really going for that Japanese woodblock print, like Sumi ink kind of feel. So I was trying to find basically a middle ground between the two cartoony and the two realistic, and kind of add that Japanese inking style to the mix, and that's kind of how I came about the style for 47.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool.
Very
you use a lot of ink wash, and then you color it digitally underneath.
Yeah. So if you, let's see, let me take care of those. So this is what a black and white page would look like. Which is, it has a lot of ink wash in it.
Yeah.
And then
use Photoshop and Clip.
I mostly use Photoshop. I guess I'm a little old school, and then I just haven't gotten around to really getting to know Clip.
Yeah,
well.
I learned it. I'm starting to learn it. These guys have been kind of making fun of me because I don't know enough about it.
Don't worry, Eric. I'm right there with you.
As you can see, I'm building what I should be building in Illustrator. I'm building in Photoshop. And Ramón will be like, "You're killing me," but it's fine.
Yeah.
It's like I'm building like a border around this illustration. He's like, "Oh my god, I can do that in 5 seconds, Eric."
Oh my god, Eric, what are you doing?
Don't worry about it. Look away. This is how I do things. All right. This is so everyone knows it's okay to do it your own way.
Exactly. Exactly.
As long as it works.
I mean, for your work though, Alexia, like Photoshop is the right tool, like because you're doing all your inks traditionally, so you're just really just photo coloring in Photoshop basically.
The unfortunate thing about my line work is that if I try to do the colors in clip paint, like the fast way, like kind of the paint bucket kind of way, it
Oh, yeah.
wouldn't take very well. It will just
Oh, no.
select everything.
Oh, for sure. You know,
So,
you gotta
so
get
I'm
in
I'm
there.
unfortunately stuck on the old fashioned flatting way, I guess.
No, that's nothing wrong with that. What works,
Yeah, but it's so
basically.
slow.
Yeah, I don't. I have my own ways of doing things. Ramon is teaching us all slowly, one artist at a time. The
One
anthologies have
stubborn,
been a great learning lesson for all of us
one
because they're like,
stubborn artist at a time.
"What's CMYK? I don't know what CMYK is." Marcus is
Oh,
probably like, "Eric, come on."
we all try to teach Eric new tricks, but just like an old dog, he's just like, no, I got the Eric way, and we're like, oh god, the Eric way.
That's a, you know, if it works, it works. Like,
Yeah,
Work this
but does it
long.
work though? We're wondering, does it work? So that's the question we're asking ourselves all the time.
Oh, Ramon.
fair.
All gonna
we
work out.
just because we love you, Eric.
I know. I feel it. Have you missed going to the Hubert school?
Do I miss it?
Yeah,
There's a lot of things that I miss about it.
Yeah.
But I don't miss the sleepless nights for sure.
Sounds like Sheridan College.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's one thing I missed when I left college was the community aspect of
Yeah.
being surrounded by fellow artists day in and day out,
Yep.
and having that just connectivity there. But I mean that's why I'm part of the studio. Like I love coming in every day and just interacting with other artists on a daily basis. It's so different than connecting over Zoom or whatever it might be. So if I can come in here and enjoy some good company, but also learn and engage, it's a fantastic.
Ramon, you sound really quiet, my
Oh,
friend.
really? How's this? Maybe I have to take my mic.
Better. You were kind of quiet right from the start,
Maybe my mic is.
and then you get kind of like I'm just talking.
I think he got nostalgic, and that's why he started getting a little.
I
Like,
started to wane off there a little bit.
He got all
you know what I'm saying?
emotional. He's like, I don't know. Maybe
Here,
Eric is
he
doing
got all
it.
misty eyed.
Let me try something here. Hold on a second here. We're gonna try something different here. Give me 1 second.
Oh, let's see here. All kinds of techniques.
See
I
if this-
think I saw a question.
We got here.
Who are some of the teachers at the Hubert School?
Oh.
When I was there, I was actually very fortunate to have met Joe Hubert himself. He was still alive at the time that I was enrolling. So I met him a couple of times, and he's just the most humbling experience and just a person to be around, especially when you're just, you're young and you don't really know anything, and all you know is that Joe is just a legend. So meeting him was, definitely an experience. But he is a very, very sweet man, from what I experienced anyway. I was taught by Adam Hubert in first and third year, and I was taught by Andy Hubert in second year. So that was pretty fantastic. I have Fernando Ruiz as a teacher who was, up until a couple of years ago, pretty much a staple artist for Archie. I just mentioned High Iceman. We had Jan Duursema and Tom Mandrake, who've been working in the industry for forever as well. Basically, if you want to be a teacher at the Hubert School, you have to be a working professional, and 9 out of 10 times they're going to be graduates from years prior.
Okay.
So that's kind of how that works. They keep it within the family.
There you
Oh,
go.
there he is.
Sorry.
Ramon,
A
Ramon,
funky thing happened.
why are you ignoring us, Ramon?
Sorry. Can you hear me now? Is that better?
Yeah, you sound pretty good there.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to screw with my mic and I had to leave the studio to actually make it work.
You got put in the corner by Rob.
I got put in the corner by Rob. He doesn't like it when I play with
Yeah,
things.
that sounds way better. You were very quiet and
Yeah.
and
All right. We'll try to keep this going here.
yeah.
There we go. Sorry, what did I miss? Fill me in.
No, too late.
You have to watch it.
I have to watch it. Can I get the instant replay?
Yeah, in slow mo. Oh, look at this great circle I'm working on.
I know, this is fantastic. You know, how quickly did that
so
take
sexy.
you?
Like Willa says goodnight.
No, that's Sam's daughter.
Oh, nice.
Tell her I said goodnight back. Yeah, she's known me since she was 3, so she's 7, about to turn 8. And because her dad and I, we talk an awful lot. She's seen me very often. We haven't met in person yet, unfortunately, but hopefully we will at one point. That's actually one of the stretch goals for the campaign. It's because I'm based out in New Jersey and Sam is based out in Kentucky. We only get to see each other once a year.
At shows or where?
Yeah, at shows.
Is it the New York Comic Con or another show?
It's this local convention called the Garden State Comic Fest, which is out here in Jersey, where I'm at. Mm-hmm. So it's a great show. It's a great local show. A lot of Hubert folk come out there. But yeah, anyway, for issue 3, we figured it'd be fair if we could get me to fly over to Kentucky for a change instead of Sam having to drive up again. So yeah, we're trying to make that happen. That's one of our stretch goals.
Do you and Sam do a lot of shows to promote Furious Tales, or do you do most of the sales online and through Kickstarter?
It's a combination of things. We do a lot of promoting on YouTube streams, such as this one.
Oh, okay, interesting.
If we have a little bit more money, we will definitely be doing more shows. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Right now, money's a little tight, but we definitely like to do more shows.
Okay.
But the real thing is that Sam, because he runs Sonoma Publishing, is trying to get retailers to come out and support us. So we have a lot of retailer backers. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But we actually have a good network of retailers that carry our books now, from New York, New Jersey, Florida, Tennessee, I think. Like all over the country now, we have retailers that are carrying 47 and other Sonoma titles as well.
Well, that's awesome. Are these at bookstores, comic shops, or a mix?
No, these are comic shops, actually. Nice. I mean, most of them run games and such now because that's kind of what you have to be as a retailer. But yeah, they're all comic shops. Wow, I'm not getting the selection done. Damn. So yeah.
And do you work? Are you working these days full time as an artist?
I am now, thanks to the pandemic.
Oh yeah. Made the choice for you. Right.
It pretty much did, but it was what you call that? A something in disguise. Can't think of the word right now.
Blessing.
A blessing. Thank you. It was a blessing in disguise. Yeah, because again, I was It really was. It was because I was, like I said, I was a barista for a very long time, and that was my day job. Mm-hmm. And that didn't leave me with an awful lot of energy when I would get home to work on art.
Yeah.
So when the pandemic happened and things got closed down, suddenly it's like, well, now you have to make this freelance life work. So start to hustle,
Yeah.
Oh, it's cool that, sometimes it takes something like that to make you realize, shit, I should have been doing this a long time ago or something.
This is true. Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. No. I always say life will kick you in the ass in some way when you need to make a change.
Yep.
So, you might not like it even sometimes when it happens, but it usually works out for the hopefully for the best.
I believe that everything happens for a reason. I really do. Yeah. Even the sucky things.
Yeah, no, it's true. The good brings out the bad brings out the good, and vice versa sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So,
what's the difference of working here versus Holland? Any reason why you didn't stay there, or?
So, to give a little bit of my background, in Europe, you grow up on lots of European comics. Obviously, I was reading the Donald Duck Weekly magazine, for example, when I was very little. That's like a standard subscription that most kids had.
Right.
And then as I grew older, I got into European comics. Like, I very randomly picked up these two westerns called Durango by Yves Wolves, if I say that right. And that's basically how I started collecting comics. I started out with that, which was it was very random, but it was just like, oh, pretty pictures, and I like this, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And then gradually, and I was very fortunate with that too. Gradually, I got into American comics, and I'm making this distinction because, again, you grow up on a certain type of comic or a certain type of market, and then when you look at American comics, it's just like vastly different.
Oh yeah, very much so.
Oh, you got a question there, Alexia?
What was that?
Is Alexia planning on going to New York shows this year?
That is still up in the air. I would definitely like to. We are trying to get into New York Comic Con this year for sure. But if I manage to get any shows in or any signings, will probably be local in the New Jersey area. But
I always find the smaller shows are actually quite great when you're trying to get books off the ground. I feel like with the larger shows, they're great, but I feel you can get lost in the shuffle because there's so many guests.
Absolutely.
There's so many people.
Yeah.
I think it's almost beneficial to do smaller shows where you're maybe one of 20 artists or one of 30 artists instead of one of 5,000 artists.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely true. Absolutely true.
But sorry to cut you off there. You were saying you're reading different stuff. You discovered American comics.
Mm-hmm. So when I was about, I think I said I was probably about 9, and this is a very pivotal year in my life. Mm-hmm. For some reason, I discovered Metal Gear Solid, which is
yeah.
But I also discovered J. Scott Campbell's Danger Girl.
Yes,
nice,
so good.
And I was fortunate in that there was this random publishing company in the Netherlands that was picking up all of the cliffhanger titles at the time that were coming out in the late 90s, and they were translating them into Dutch. So that's how I got to read Danger Girl for the first time. And when I saw that, my mind was just absolutely blown because I'd never seen comics done like that at that point. I'd been reading, that stuff I was telling you about before, but I was also reading a lot of Looney Tunes comics and Garfield and such. So it was a lot more cartoony. And then to suddenly get hit by that J. Scott Campbell dynamic stuff that he was working on was just like a world of difference. And I was like, My first thought was, I didn't know comics could look like that. And then my second thought was, I want to be able to draw like that too.
Yeah.
So were you an artist before you started collecting comics, or was comics kind of what inspired you to draw?
I think I was already drawing before I was drawing comics, but they were kind of, those two passions were growing in tandem.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I was reading my Looney Tunes comics, I was definitely trying to draw the characters. Like I would try to copy Daffy Duck and Tasmanian Devil and like Garfield and such. So I think the two really just went hand in hand.
Yeah.
I wasn't really making a distinction between the two. And then when I read Danger Girl, that was when I really started thinking about, okay, I actually kind of want to take this seriously, maybe. So then I went from Danger Girl to Spawn, which is, again, another completely different thing.
Yeah, for sure. That ain't no Daffy Duck.
That's not Daffy Duck. And that's also no Campbell.
Nope.
No, very different as well.
Yeah, I remember getting the issue number 6 of Spider-Man with McFarlane, and I was like, the Hobgoblin issue. I was like, holy shit, I want to draw like that.
Yeah,
it kind of got
and
me.
The the thing was, I didn't even jump in on the Capullo run. I was jumping in on the Angel Medina run. That was right after issue 100 that Capullo left, and then Angel Medina was on there. And his style was just absolutely bananas. But I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. I guess I need to draw like that if I want to be a professional or something, you know?
Did you find it intimidating, or were you more just inspired by it all?
Both. It was definitely both. It was definitely, oh man, I don't think I could ever draw that way, but I'm gonna try. So I was basically copying a lot of that stuff at the time when I was younger. But to answer your question, Eric, in a very roundabout way, is I think the reason why I decided to come to the United States instead of staying in Europe, because there are great schools for comic art in Europe as well, is because I was so taken with the American comics far more than I ever was with the European stuff. That is to say that I still love the European comics now. I think I appreciate them more now than I did when I was younger.
Right.
But I was just like, I want to be a comic book artist, very particularly a comic book artist, not a bande dessinée or whatever you want to call it. That I was like, I want to be a comic book artist. And there happens to be a comic book school in America. So that's how I decided to go to the United States.
So your entire family's still back overseas?
Yes. I have family here because my mother is from Colombia and her family immigrated to the United States. So part of the family is actually out here. And then my mom went to the Netherlands, honestly, just to visit, and then met my dad.
Oh,
and ended up
interesting.
staying.
Okay.
Well, that's how it happens.
That's how it happens. My parents too.
I think my dad met my mom in Holland when they were on a camping trip. My dad's Dutch too, but he was over here in Canada with his family already, and he went back to Holland to visit and travel through Holland. They started in Holland, and I think they're going to work their way through Europe. But then he met my mom, and that's as far as they went. Him and his friends.
Yeah. So I'll be staying here, guys.
Yeah. So the United States wasn't that much of a culture shock for me. We'd already visit because of family quite often, which definitely helped with the whole transition, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I mean, it is quite the jump to especially go, and start a whole new life basically in another country. And
yes.
Also go to school and all that stuff there too, right?
I will admit though, the school definitely helped because it's like you said, Ramon, it's a community. You meet all these people. And the thing about the Hubert School is that it actually attracts a lot of international students. Yeah. Like a lot of my friends ended up being international students. Like one of my best friends is from Turkey.
Oh, cool.
For example.
Okay.
So like there's people from all over the world coming to that school, and we're all kind of in the same boat that, we had to go over some extra hurdles and extra obstacles just to get into the school.
For sure, yeah.
That domestic students don't have to deal with because they're already there. They're already U.S. citizens and all that jazz.
Did you have any favorite teachers that you felt really helped you hit the mark or helped you accelerate as a creator at the school?
Oh, that's a tough question. I think no, not because I'm like, oh no, I don't want to insult anybody, but really
I don't mean the way that one's better than the other. Like I know, like when I went to school, all my teachers were fantastic. I learned a lot from all my teachers, but there were a few standouts that I connected with better, and they just kind of gave me a little bit more insight, and you probably discuss with them a little bit more often. And that sort of thing. So it's not necessarily they were better or not. It's just more like, sometimes you get like a mentor-mentee situation, and you're like, they get you or something like that. You know what I mean?
I hear what you're saying. I guess not super particularly. The cool thing about the Hubert School, I will say, is that even after you graduate, like they are very they keep tabs on the graduates for sure, And a lot of my teachers, because again, I stayed locally, a lot of my teachers would come to the show and be like, oh, they'd be happy to see me putting out my book.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Rob,
and like some of them will
images
support.
queued up for you, Alexia.
What?
I think Rob has a few images queued up.
Rob is telling us to
He's
shut
like,
the F up.
Ramón, cut off Ramón.
This is actually an awesome piece. I love this piece you did.
Yeah, this is great.
Thank you.
This is killer.
Is that all watercolor?
Mm-hmm.
Digital?
No, that's all old school.
That is all old school.
That's a wicked piece. You really killed it.
Thank you.
Dr. Doom.
I like that. That's nice.
Some nice shadow work there.
Thank you. So yeah, that's I think through 47 I really found my thing with the ink and the ink wash.
Very cool. So how many issues are out, if there is any out? I'm sorry, I don't know very much. What issue is this one you're working on?
So this is issue 3, which is again currently on Kickstarter. We have made our goal, so if you back it, you're going to get that book guaranteed. You don't have to worry about whether or not it's going to make it, which is always nice as a backer.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Is there? So I think Rob said there was a link to it. He said he found it. I don't know if he can post that up or not.
Yeah, but it is posted in the body of our show. So like if you're on YouTube or Facebook, it is in our links section.
There we go. Look
below.
at
that. Yeah. Funded in less than an hour. That's
pretty
awesome.
Whoa, superstar. Wait a second.
Damn.
That's not fair. Ours took 7 hours. Wait a second. Congrats. That's awesome.
No, that is awesome.
Thank you.
That's 3. How many do you have? Is there I guess a finite set of issues you're working on?
Yes.
Or, yeah.
It's going to be.
Okay.
It's going to be a 12 issues limited series. Because
Nice.
there's an ending to this, guys. And in
makes
case
sense.
nobody knows, but this is an actual historical event that happened. So we're not doing an ongoing series. This has a beginning and an ending.
Nice. No, that's awesome. And
Is there any So I'm a big samurai fan too. I collect samurai films as much as I can.
Right on.
Any films stick out to you that you're like, oh, that's my favorite? Besides some of the obvious ones, but
No, just the obvious ones, obviously. Oh no, there's also the one, and I can't remember the title of it, about the blind samurai. He's like an older gentleman and he's
Zatoichi.
blind. And yes, that one was great. I love that one too.
superb.
Yeah, there's so many out there that I haven't had a chance to I still haven't had a chance to watch the original Lone Wolf and Cub series.
Oh wow.
I have a burnt.
You have a burnt?
My friend from college, John Dobie, he hooked me up with some stuff. So
Yeah.
he lent me this. He lent me this.
He lend you that.
And you stole it.
There you go. Actually, I have 2 of those actual DVDs.
There you go.
And I have them on VHS. If anyone, I'm really
you
old.
you can actually get the whole series, I think, on Criterion.
Probably.
And but it's so expensive, so you have to be like a super fan. So it's like 20 films or something. Like it's a lot of films they did.
Well, the manga series was huge too, so I'm not entirely surprised.
No, exactly, right? So.
There's also Lady Snowblood, the movie. I read the manga
classic.
first, and then I found out that there was a movie, which was also great.
I think I have that too.
Yeah, that's a classic one. The sequel's not so great, but the first one's pretty awesome.
I thought they did a pretty good job. The Last Samurai, Tom Cruise. I didn't mind that film.
I still need to see that one.
It's not bad.
I really like that. I'm a fan of Tom Cruise. I don't care what anyone says. I think they did a great job in that. The music's fantastic and some really cool stuff in there. So.
No, I thought overall it was a strong movie. I haven't seen it since it was in the theaters, but you know, you ever seen?
So Eric.
Yes.
What did you think of the Keanu Reeves 47 movie?
Oh my god, that was awful.
You
haven't seen it? Okay, don't watch it.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah,
I love Keanu. I think he's great.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of him, and I also know he's not the strongest actor, but his John Wick stuff's pretty fun. The first one especially.
Yeah.
and I think the last one was pretty cool. But I saw this, and I'm like, I don't know.
So we always have to remind people that it's not the movie whenever we tell people the premise of 47 Furious Tales. They're like, oh, like the movie. We're like, no, absolutely nothing like that. This is
Not the movie.
No, sir. Have you ever seen Throne of Blood with Toshiro Mifune?
No, but that sounds great.
If you ever get a chance, I believe it's a retelling of Hamlet, if I remember correctly, but in the samurai domain.
Nice.
And it's so good.
Ooh, there we go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Love that
fantastic
graphic image
Yeah.
of the wild.
Yeah.
I love my samurai films as well, just like Eric, and especially I fell in love with Toshiro Mifune early on. Velocipaster. No. We're not going to talk about that movie.
We leave Velocipaster where it's supposed to.
Oh
just
my
leave
god, that
one
movie
alone.
is just so weird. Velocipaster. I do love bad movies. I do love the
Oh my god.
the Iron Sky, the Nazis on the moon
Oh yeah,
kind of movie.
that's all right. Oh wait, no, I didn't see that one.
So, while you're working on this series, Alexia, are you integrating other projects at the same time, like other comics or illustration work or
Yes.
stuff like that?
Well, so because I have done some game work now for Sinopa for basically role-playing game adventure modules. I actually ended up getting another game-related job, which I can't really say much about other than the fact that it is a tabletop card game.
Oh, cool.
Very cool.
So, and the fun thing about that particular project is that it was a requirement for it to be done completely traditionally. So I'm going back to painting some more, which I hadn't done in a while. Like that Godzilla was kind of like a departure from the usual, where I got to play with watercolors again. But for this project, they want you to do the illustrations painted. So I was like, all right, cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, I miss painting. I gotta get back into it one of these days.
Why don't you do it at the Raid Retreat?
I have to bring the paints. I got to bring the thinner. I got to bring the canvas. There's so much trouble.
Sometimes you just want to do nothing for a week.
Ramon.
Oh my god, I can't wait for
We
that.
can't all paint a painting every morning like Eric does with his acrylic paints there.
No. I only did 3.
Only 3. Oh, shucks.
All right.
No, Eric's an amazing painter, and like this guy's like doing little still lifes every morning at the cottage.
So are you going out in plein air and painting?
What do we call it? I would go out and
Plein air.
Well, no, I would go out and forage for my still life. You made fun of me because I'd get up early in the morning, throw my sword around, and look for a reference to paint. What was it? You made fun of me, and it was pretty funny.
Yeah, you're foraging for still lives. Nuts, berries, and still lives.
Yeah. Some of it worked. Some of it didn't.
Oh, no,
That's cool, though.
Oh no, Eric's like it's fantastic. We make fun because we're jealous. We just want to be.
Okay.
It's what happens.
Let's switch topics here.
He's so humble. It's amazing.
All right.
Especially when he's thinking Especially when he's thinking, what was it again? Cinematography.
Oh, so what was that? Yeah. Cinematically or something.
Someone watched the show. I see. A couple of jokers on today.
I like it.
Yeah. I don't even know.
I like that term too, Eric. It's kind of why I think I'm going to keep it. Cinematically, that's what it was.
Yeah, that's right.
I thought it was
off
great.
the tongue nicely.
It's
a thematic cinema.
That's pretty funny.
Cinematic word flubber. I think it makes sense. Cinema and method. There you go.
Oh yeah.
Got ideas.
Got ideas indeed.
So what's next then? Like you got this project. It's gonna end, you say. You got big plans for something else.
Yeah, that's
Is there anything you'd like to tackle? Like, the comic landscape has actually changed so much since you entered it. since you came to study it. So many different companies are available now. There's indie comics, there's mainstream, there's Kickstarter. Are there things that you're really interested in? Like, are you of the mindset that you'd like to actually do, a Batman book one day or something, or are you more just wanting to kind of create your own stuff or collaborate with writers? Or
No,
feeling it out?
I'm very much like you guys, wanting to do my own stuff or stuff that is basically, left of center. There's nothing wrong with the superhero things. I just never, I didn't gravitate as much towards that as I did to other things.
Yeah.
So like, I'm a big fan of all of the titles that Rick Remender has put out through Image, for example.
Okay.
Black Science and Deadly Class, Tokyo Ghost, all that stuff. And
Nice.
He kind of made me realize that you can do it. You can just make your own stories, have
Oh,
them
for sure. Yeah.
published, and try to make something of a living out of it. So that's kind of been my personal goal, is to further develop my story and get that out there.
When you say your story, is that like something you're working on particularly of your own?
Yeah.
Nice. And can you divulge any of this, or is this something you're just kind of working on slowly in your...
Tell us more.
I'm just curious.
Tell me
Curious.
more. Tell me more. No. Sorry,
I saw that
I've
video.
listened
You
to some
apparently
very
you do
often.
your superpower is to do an impression of, who was it again?
Shakira.
Shakira. That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
That's forever embedded in the internet now.
I realized that because somebody else was talking about that interview too. So like, oh, I saw this interview you did, and I was just like, which one? Because the problem is I do these things and then I completely forget about them, because that's just how my brain works. I completely forget that I've done all of those things, and then somebody comes up to me and says, "Oh, remember when you did that one thing?" And I was just like, "I did." So yeah, that happens. But we're completely derailing from the question. What was the question again?
Oh, your story. You said you were working on your own story.
Oh, right. Well, I can tell you one thing. It does involve samurais.
It does,
again,
or it doesn't?
It does.
It does. Okay. That's cool. So this is a good warm-up series you got going on here then.
That's also one of the reasons why I decided to take on this project, because I figured, it's a good way to get some experience, more experience under my belt. And definitely, I'd already been doing a lot of visual research on Japanese culture and samurai stuff, so I was able to incorporate a lot of that research into this book as well.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Have you ever traveled to Japan, or is that something you want to do?
That's definitely on the bucket list.
Nice.
We have this crazy ambition. My writer Sam and I, we want to go to the actual site of Akko, where the actual samurai are interred, and we want to present a collected edition of the series to the folks who run the festival that commemorates the 47 Ronin every year.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Neat.
Yeah, so
cool
hopefully we can make that happen. But again, that'll be once we actually finish the entire series and collected it all, because we definitely want to do that too.
Yeah. And what speed are you working? Like, is it like an issue a year, or what's?
Well, if it were up to Sam, it'd be like 4 issues a year.
Well, writers are a bit.
Writers,
We're not
God,
talking about
no.
writers.
Oh yeah.
Writers, they just write a few words down on a piece of paper. They're like 47 dragons fighting 100. You're like, oh yeah, no problem. I'll get that to you tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then it's like, can I have some illustrations for my book? Sheldon Carter. There he is. Look at that. There he is. Yeah. It's
Interesting.
Like, oh, by the way, Eric, I got this idea. I think you'd be perfect for it.
Yeah, that's how that goes, right? And then Yeah, and we're stupid enough to say yes. That's also our fault.
You know,
We are idiots, aren't we? God damn
can't
it.
help ourselves.
Fell for it again.
It's like they're just like, hey, can you draw like an entourage of horses? Sure, no problem.
You like horses?
Yeah.
It's okay. It's all
But
right.
ideally before, again, this is from a writer's perspective. Realistically, we're probably talking about 2, max 3 a
Yeah.
year.
I mean, it's a lot of work. You're
It all
doing
just-
the colors and everything too, right? So if it's,
I'm basically doing the job of 3 people.
Yeah.
In comic book terms, anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So no, that's a hefty workload as it is.
Yeah.
So,
So it really depends on funding, because we are very dependent on Kickstarter. And again, we're very, very fortunate to have Kickstarter, and we have this great community built up through Kickstarter and through all the shows that we've done and the retailers. We've actually built up quite a fan base at this point, and folks
Nice.
really like the book. So we're just hoping to keep the momentum going so we can keep bringing those books out to them.
nice. Do you find with every Kickstarter, the books are funding quicker? Like that, you have that following that's
Yeah.
building up, and that's awesome. Well, that's what you want.
Definitely. Definitely. And we're always trying to find new ways to reach other people through virtual means when we can't do it in real life sometimes. So
Yeah.
Any
Cool.
advice for young aspiring artists? The
keep
classic-
drawing.
Keep drawing your fundamentals.
What's Quentin saying here? Yeah. We may also make sure artists get paid and eat and all that. Well,
Always
got a
throwing.
little sassy writer going on here.
Uh-oh.
No, I mean, he's sassy. That is true, but he's not incorrect. He's actually very good about that. He's one of those few people that will definitely, stand up for our rights as artists and advocate for that, which is it's a breath of fresh air in comparison to a lot of folks on the indie scene that are just like, hey, I have this great idea for a book. And I'm like, great. And they're like, I can't pay you. I'm like, okay, well, that's not going to work. So,
I've gotten a lot of those over the years.
The not pay you. I love
And
those.
I'll pay you on the.
it's like, oh, we'll pay you in the Kickstarter funds. And I'm like, okay, but I got to pay rent before that.
Yeah,
So
you'd be like, "Then you'll get
how's
the
that
art
gonna work?
after it funds too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No.
So I've been very lucky with Sinopa. And I've been very lucky with getting the other gig as well now.
No,
I'm
that's
very
amazing.
excited to get
That's-
started on that.
It's always great when you start getting multiple jobs as a freelancer and start building that clientele base, and and you don't have to worry so much as you do in your earlier years about where that next paycheck might be coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's been a struggle.
You for sure not going back to work as a barista, right? You're like, enough of this.
I think I've made that
made that-
decision.
Made that
Yeah.
hard call.
There's nothing wrong with being a barista. I actually really
No.
enjoyed.
Not
No,
at
no.
all.
Let me elaborate on that. I really enjoyed making the coffee for people. I found that very gratifying.
Mhm.
And it certainly helped that I got the coffee for free every day. That's definitely a perk too.
Totally.
So there's a lot of things that I did enjoy about that job. But at the end of the day, every shift that I was there, in the back of my mind, I had it gnawing at me. It's like, you could be drawing instead.
Yeah.
And
That's
that
true.
doesn't
I think
help.
Yeah. I think a lot of us have taken on odd jobs here or there when we're starting out.
Sure.
The dry spells, whatever it might be. Whether it's a barista or construction work or
Mhm.
God knows what. It's
But
there to help you survive.
I think everybody should have had a service job of some kind in their lives.
So it grounds them a little bit.
It grounds you so much, you
That's
become
right.
way less
You
of an
tell Eric
asshole.
never had one, so.
Oh, started my life as a donut diner. So, and then I worked stocking shelves in the grocery store, midnight shift.
Yeah.
So I got a good taste of the real work. It sucked.
The midnight shift.
But
So, Eric, I actually had a question for you.
oh,
As a Street Fighter fan,
Yes.
I collected the Street Fighter comics that were put out by Udon. And I was
Okay,
wondering
right
if
on.
any of your work was in there.
For sure. I probably did a lot of the background art. If you have anything from Alvin Lee's, then I probably
Hmm.
did the background.
Oh, you did? Okay, cool. So, because
Yeah,
I got
he
these ginormous collections. They're like the Ultimate Street Fighter.
sure.
So it was like Street Fighter 1 and Street Fighter 2 or something like that. And
Okay.
I was looking at the page index to see whose names were on it, and nobody was credited in that book, so I couldn't tell whether or not you had worked on that.
That's very
Yeah,
rude
who
on it.
knows what they did? They're a little messy sometimes, but or they would mix my name up with Joe Reens and call me Joe Vedder and Eric Reens. So
What, really?
Oh, love that.
yeah, like those last names do not sound the same. So I don't know what they're
They
definitely
both
not
got
that.
V's in them. It's very
You're
confusing.
like, you know what? Just put that down. Okay. Anyway, Joe and I would have a good laugh about that. So but, no, I
That's
think
cool though.
the latest thing where I kind of had most of my art was the Darkstalker series, which I'm kind of the most proud of too, as far as Capcom stuff. I did like a 3-issue mini run. Actually, Joe, speaking of Joe, he did the other half of the book, and I did the other half. I did the ones with Morgan, and he did the ones with what's his face? Oh, escapes me. Darkstalker Hunter guy. I should know this. Anyway, but that
language I don't know.
That that's the stuff that I did kind of all the art, characters, and backgrounds. So I tried. Comics were kind of a weird thing for me. I was never kind of an old school classic comic book artist guy. People go on about writers and comics, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like I got in on Image Days, and so like that's my history to comics, which maybe some people will be like, "Oh, how dare you?" That's
Yeah,
not.
but there's so
comic.
many people who got in on that era. You're no
Yeah.
different than a whole generation of
Yeah,
writers.
so I feel like that's kind of where I'd get to. But I go to conventions, and all you guys, the raid guys, would talk about old school comic stuff, and I'm like, I'm just tuned out. I have no idea. What
It's
they're
because
talking
I'm old, basically, Eric.
So
That's what it
I didn't
is.
want to say that, but Ramon, you're so old.
Well, Ramon, I'm about to make you feel even older.
Oh, here we go. Oh, God. It's
So
my favorite part, just feeling older.
this is the best part, right? So I discovered your work through my best friend from high school, who had, I don't even know how, she found Kukuburi on the interwebs.
Oh, yeah.
And she came to me and said, Lex, she said, I found this comic. It's about you. Because it's just, she goes, it's about this girl who wears cargo pants. And I was like totally wearing cargo pants at the time. And she likes coffee. And I was working as a barista. And she rides an orange Vespa scooter. And I had an orange Vespa scooter.
No way, really?
I did for the longest time. I did. That was my
That's awesome.
My method of getting around. So she was basically like, it's basically you. You need to read this comic right now. And I was just like, and I was, working at a comic shop at the time as well as a barista. And I was like, I've never heard of this. And where is this? Oh, it's online. I'm like, online comics. Okay, fine. I'll check it out. I was very snooty about it.
You're like, oh.
I was being so snooty about it for some reason. So I checked it out and I was like, oh my God, she's right. It is about me. No, just kidding. But that's how I discovered your work initially.
Actually, I think I remember that from our first encounter.
Oh, you did?
Huh?
Transmission X days, I assume.
Yeah, that would have been Transmission X days, yeah.
Exactly.
I remember
stuff on there.
Eric did. One day we'll collect all the stuff, basically.
So needless to say, I'm actually very excited for the Kukuburi Kickstarter and seeing that book.
Oh, so am I. It's people. As I was telling someone the other day, I was like, you get people of excitement, and then you also get hate mail because people are like, you'll get like, someone just making a comment or going, "Guess this comic is dead." Artist doesn't have time to put any effort in, and you're like, wow. You're just like,
wow.
You don't know how much work goes into these things.
How much other work you have to do.
Yeah,
You're really busy.
If Kookaburra paid the bills, I would have had that done 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But the cool thing now is also that it can now potentially pay the bills, because a lot of the things that we were trying to do back in our early webcomic days weren't available to us as they are now, right? And that's the cool thing too about going on to Kickstarter, going onto these platforms where you can, it's just so cool that anybody can go on there, whether it's make a comic or a piece of clothing or camping gear. You have an idea, you can take it to the people basically, and you let the people decide on giving you money and stuff like that. So I think it's just like so amazing that this is possible these days.
Totally, I agree.
So I'm excited to actually return to my roots, my webcomic roots, and get these ideas out there and print it and just do what you love for a living. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's the dream, right?
Exactly. It's what we're all striving to do. Right?
So would you recommend the Joe Hubert School to anyone?
Yes and no.
Well, please expand.
Yes, because it is a great school that teaches you not just comic book art, although comic book art is obviously a huge part of the curriculum, but it just teaches you drawing in general.
That's good.
I thought I knew how to draw, and then I came to the Hubert School and I realized I didn't really know anything.
Oh yeah.
So that was definitely an eye opener. The no part of that answer is mostly because it is a very, very demanding program, and it's really not meant for everybody. Like you have to be a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs to go to that school, to be honest.
I feel like that was the same for Sheridan back in the animation days when I was there. Like holy crap, Photoshop worked better. Okay. I feel like you really had to be nuts.
Yeah.
Why am I so terrible and challenged at technology?
Are all those error noises from your computer then?
Yeah, I'm like,
I was wondering about that.
I want to zoom out.
It's like, let me not say anything. That's rude. But I was just like,
No, I like Sheridan was very demanding, especially the years that I was there. But I really appreciated, in hindsight, how much work was involved, how demanding it was, because it kind of showed you, like, well, without really telling us that's kind of what the real world's like, actually. If you want to be successful, if you want to kind of do your own thing, it's like you can't just party with your friends all the time. That's fun, but like it's a long road, and it can be brutal, and it's definitely not fair. And that's something that I wish that they would have leaned in on a bit more as far as teaching, like pass it on to the kids. I know maybe they're trying to collect a paycheck and they want people to stay in school, but it's like, I think about trying to teach some kind of course, and then part of it being, okay, so this is what the real world's like. I'm doing all these drawings in here and getting really good, but
I think that would be a very valuable class, though.
What's that?
I think that would be a very valuable class, though, because I wish somebody had taught me that. Like,
yeah, I think so. I talked with my the HR lady at work. We talk about, because I go to Sheridan to hire sometimes, and I listen to the kids. They come out of there with kind of an ego on them, like they are owed the interviews, that they are expected to be interviewed. Like the people showing up late, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I'm coming. We are a reputable company coming to see you, and don't start your career like this, being late for your first interview. Like, just and I'm just like, wow. Like I can let shit slide. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, smart enough, and they don't teach you that stuff. Maybe they say it, but I don't think maybe they don't drill it in hard enough for those kids.
Maybe, yeah.
I also think that a lot of it also has to do with age. I've realized as I've gotten older that I understand what the older students in my year were doing now a lot better than when I was starting out there, because you're 20 something, you're just basically fucking around because you don't really know what you're doing with your life. And it's not until you're older that all those sensible things that the teacher were trying to tell you make a lot more sense. It's like, oh yeah, I had a point, maybe I should do that. It's almost like you just didn't have the development for it yet.
The mental capacity. You're like,
yeah, exactly. Because like a lot of the teachers will probably tell you, get your act together, do X, Y, and Z, and you're like, yeah, that makes sense, and then you don't really do it.
Yeah, I think for me it was when was it? Probably in halfway through second year of animation, I was like, I gotta get my shit together. I gotta start. So I really dialed into like the life drawing. I loved animation, but I was more of an illustrator at the end of the day. But it was just like, I gotta start getting my shit together here, and I'm glad I did, because I started kind of like really focusing on class work and trying to get the assignments done, because I don't know, it was they were brutal. Like if you failed, you were done. There was no like, oh no, everyone passes. It was like, you failed, you were done. And so I liked that, because it was very like, the course would start with like maybe 300 people in it. And it was only 3 years at the time. And then by third year, there's maybe 35 people, because they just couldn't cut it. They couldn't cut it. So
yeah, our program was the same.
What in the world? Why is this?
Yeah. The Hubert school was like that too. At least in my year, we started out with 30. We ended up with 13.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So,
and there's something about that, because it's like, and that was the part that I really liked about that program. Maybe not at the time, because it was kind of terrifying. I just want to go home and see what happens. But it kind of like separated the weak from the strong in a terrible way. It was like, if you were serious, you stayed, basically.
Yeah, no, I think there's nothing
and
wrong with that.
There's something about a life lesson in there that, because you really come up against that once you get out of school.
Yeah.
I had a lot of friends who graduated classical animation couldn't find jobs for years, and they were good. They had their stuff, but then they would go into 3D animation. Like, it's like, you're not guaranteed anything coming out of school. So
yeah.
But anyway, they taught you hard work a bit, and I always admired that.
Oh, it's tough. It's like, especially freelancing, because there's it's dog eat dog, basically.
Totally.
But so satisfying when you are finally making it. But I was talking with someone. I think I did a panel at the Toronto Comic Con about turning creativity into a career with Sean Crystal from Inkpulse, who we had on the show earlier.
Yeah.
And
Sean's a great guy.
We were talking about how already by choosing this career, you're a little bit crazy, because
absolutely.
Like, you could just be like somebody else, grab a job, you go 9 to 5. You probably have less hours in your day. You wouldn't be stressed about where your next paycheck is coming from. But no, you choose to you're gonna go in there and you're gonna fight for every paycheck. You're gonna work crazy hours.
Not know where your next paycheck.
Probably not get coverage or health benefits for a while. All this stuff, right? But you do it because you love it, right? And that's the payoff,
or you get into video games and it's amazing.
Oh, Eric.
Also, become a concept artist. It's the greatest job out there. But I had to definitely jump through a lot of hoops and paid my dues to get here. But I'm spending a lot of my extra time still working on comics and telling my own stories. So, that goes to tell you that no matter what job you get, even if you love it, you still want to tell stories and still want to keep doing things.
Well, the other thing is that creative job it's great, but it's still a job.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It doesn't really stop being a job, and I think a lot of people have that a lot of normal people, a lot of non-creative people, they have that misconception.
They're calling them the normies.
The normies, yeah, the civilians. They have that misconception that just because we're doing what we wanted to do, which is draw, illustrate, whatever you want to call it, doesn't mean that it isn't a job. It's like working in comics is super tedious. You have to draw a million and one pictures, and you have to make it all work out and all that stuff, and it's not easy.
Yeah, and you also there will be days when you'll take on jobs that you won't like at all because you'll be like, I gotta pay the bills.
You gotta pay the bills.
Month. Sure, I'll draw that retirement photo of your cat. That's fine. I'll do that.
Oh man, I've had some interesting commissions.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, one of my first jobs as a freelancer was drawing retirement portraits of employees for a company. And I don't know if I'm hanging still in these homes somewhere across Canada. I have no idea, but there are these watercolor paintings of these employees, but it paid the bills.
Yep.
There you go.
It also allowed me to hone my skills a little bit, and
that's the best part is when you
right?
get a job that kind of helps you get better at a certain thing.
Yeah, I always say it's great to learn how to draw on other people's money. And that's pretty much what we do in our careers because you never stop learning.
That's true.
And I feel like when you're ready to get to that point of doing your own bigger things, it's like now you're kind of like, okay, I did it. Now I want to do my own stuff. I'm done learning on these other people's projects. It's time to do my own, basically.
So did you feel like you were ready when you were doing Kukuburi at the time?
Well, I mean, it was funny because a lot of my webcomic work, whether it was Kukuburi or whether it was Butternut Squash, came from a desire to do comics, but no one would hire me. Right? So I would do all these cons, and they'd be like, "Oh, you're great, good work," but they'd be like, "Well, we got nothing for you," or or I didn't want to jump through the hoops of. They're like, "Well, this is a great portfolio of this science fiction stuff you've drawn, but can you draw Spider-Man?" If I could draw science fiction, I could draw Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Was my mentality. So maybe I was a bit stubborn in the sense that I didn't want to jump through all these hoops to prove that I was worthy of drawing Spider-Man. So I just kept going about doing my own thing, which was working in gaming, children's books, editorial. Like I was not short for work ever. And so it was just for me it was an outlet to just do my own things.
Right.
So whether I was ready, I think once you start putting your stuff out there on a regular basis, you have to consider yourself ready because you're making that choice. You know what I mean? Maybe you're not fully ready, but you're ready enough to make that plunge, right?
That's true.
And you have to believe in yourself to get to those goalposts in your career, And I look back on my career and I go, yeah, I could do better now, but back then I did the best that I could do, and I leveled up or whatever it might be, right?
Right.
So.
All right. No, I was just curious about that because.
No, I think you have to be with that mentality that you can tackle anything. Like I remember when I first graduated, I got this. My school would do postings, right, for freelance work, and one of the guys in my course, because I had an aptitude for technology when I was in my course, so like we were learning on Photoshop like 2 and Illustrator 1 or 3 or something like that.
Oh yeah.
But I had an aptitude, so I would often help other students out in the class with the computer stuff, and. So I remember a fellow graduate reached out to me. He's like, "Yeah, there was this posting for this job, which I think you'd be good at." And I was like, oh, "Okay, let me, I'll call them up and see what it's all about." And they were a browser. They were creating a web browser for surfing the web back in the day when there was multiple web browsers. I guess there are now too, but so back when there was like Netscape and a few other ones. And they were like, "Yeah, we want you to design an animated flash icon to activate whenever we surf the web, and to show people that the browser is actively working on, finding the web page or whatever it might be." And I was like, "Oh yeah," it's like, so they're like, "Are you proficient in in Flash, and I'm like, oh yeah, for sure, no, totally proficient.
This is a lie.
and then
That's how you get those jobs.
And then they're like, do you mind? They're saying like, we have one stipulation though. Do you mind working in our offices so we can, be more one-on-one? And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. I'm happy to drop by your offices and work from one of your local computers. And they're like, fantastic. So they, I had the job and I hung up. I was like, I phoned my buddy up. I'm like, what's Flash? I had no idea what that was. And thank God they asked me to work in office because I didn't own a computer at that point. So it was hilarious. I went in for the job. They set me up with a computer. The first 2 hours, I learned how to use Flash, and I created an icon over the next couple days for the browser. But I think that's what I was getting at was that's the mentality I think you have to have a lot of the time in whether it's comics or freelancing in general. It's like, no, I'm ready. Like, I could do it. Just give me the opportunity.
Yeah. Just fake it.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us do that. We're just like, you know what? Yeah, I got this. Because at the end of the day, it's your skill set is creativity. It's on the job thinking, all that stuff that plays into not just your drawing ability.
That's true.
So, but yeah. That was my long-winded answer.
That was really good, buddy. You did good work. You're a good guy. Rob's like, you guys, come on. Yeah. How many are you planning to hit? Any shows then this year that are not out of state, out of the country?
We're definitely planning the next Garden State Comic Fest if the money says we can.
Right.
Yeah. Well, how far are you from things like the Detroit Comic Con and stuff? That's like 5 or 6 hour drive for you guys, or less? I can't remember. It's been a while since I've driven into the States.
I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly how long it would take. I'm not very good with the geography of this country.
Well, in Kentucky, if Quentin's into Kentucky, I've never been to Kentucky, but
Kentucky is far. That I can tell you. He claims it's a 12-hour drive, and that's just because he doesn't take any breaks because he's crazy like that. He's just like, I gotta get there, and then he just does it in one go.
Because there's a lot of great shows in like.
Thanks, Rob.
Carolinas. What did Rob say? Oh, here's a map.
Rob is educating us.
He's like, come on, guys.
10 hours, damn. We got Cincinnati though. You got Columbus, Ohio. There, you got a few good areas for shows. But yeah, it's a bit of a trek though. Bit of a trek.
It is.
What are you working on, Ramon?
I am working on my last few pages for the Raid anthology.
Oh, what's this anthology about?
What? Why you gotta be that way? What?
Isn't it done?
What's so shameless.
Why you gotta be that way? Why you gotta be that way? So,
I don't understand. You're still working on it.
He's trying to keep you humble.
I'm trying to get these things done. So here's
You're a good guy. You're a good guy, Ramon. You're a good guy.
He's trying to keep you humble.
That's Eric. He's always keeping me humble.
Yeah. That's my jam.
Baby steps. Baby steps.
Oh, buddy, I know. I'm almost done these illustrations for Sheldon, which I'm really excited about.
Now you can.
I'm finally done with this.
Celeste for the poster that we're gonna do.
Yeah, it's the retreat. I'm gonna have. I got plans. I had to get this out of the way, and then something at work as well. But so it's gonna be a bit of a crunch the next couple days. But I think I've got it because I really need to get through this on the weekend, and very happy with how far I got. So
yeah. Well, Alexia, is there any? So you've done some work in comics. You're doing some illustration work. Is there any other kind of creative facet of being an artist that you want to tackle or are interested? Like, have you ever thought about dabbling in animation or film, storyboarding? Any of that stuff ever kind of piqued your interest, or are you very focused on the comic illustration aspect?
We had introduction to animation in first year at Cube School.
Interesting.
At the time, they don't have it anymore.
Oh, okay.
And that definitely taught me that I was absolutely not made for animation. I'm not made for that. I don't have the patience for that. Which is ironic considering, comics is pretty tedious too sometimes.
It's a different muscle though.
It's a different. That's true. So definitely not animation. I love consuming animation. I couldn't do it to save my life.
Yeah.
So I have an immense respect for the people who can.
Oh yeah.
I guess I would like to get a little better at graphic design.
Okay.
I know that's stuff you're into as well. Like you're pretty dang good at it.
Oh yeah, he's a pro. So good.
It's an aspect I loved of my program. I love playing with type and different things. But did they teach you that at Hubert as well? Or
so not necessarily graphic design in the traditional sense, but they taught us how to work with Illustrator, and that is it's how you do graphic design. So I have a bit of a sense of that, and I guess I'm just trying to get better at that because I know those have been things that have been part of things that I had to do over time, like design your business card or make a website for yourself, or how can you make a Kickstarter campaign look good. It's all graphic design, so
no, totally.
I would like to be better at that.
It even affects like it's part of what do you call it? Your like word balloons is all graphic design, sound effects, like the title of your book, like everything. Even panel layout is graphic design in my opinion.
It is. It is. For sure.
So it's all interrelated.
So that's definitely something I would like to get better at, and I think I mean obviously I've been just doing it, like you said.
Yeah.
Just do it. And figure it out.
On the job. Yeah.
Learn on the job. So I've been doing a lot of that, but I would definitely like to, I guess, try to figure out the whys and the hows of that a little bit more.
Yeah.
And other than that, this is something completely unrelated, but I'm a theater kid. Like I was part of the theater. We had a theater class, which was like an extracurricular activity outside of school in my high school. And I loved doing that when I was a kid. I was actually contemplating a career in theater for a while I was also working at the comic shop. And I was the two ideas of, do I want to be a comic book artist or do I want to be an actor? That was definitely a bit of a dispute in my mind at the time. But I realized that theater, specifically theater, is such a team effort. And if you end up working with folks that just they're not the best, it definitely kind of poops on the experience, if you will. Whereas comics, you just do on your own. You don't really need anybody other than yourself to do it. And I've been doing that a lot longer than I was doing theater. So at the end of the day, it just made a little bit more sense to do that. But I definitely missed it, and I think I kind of rediscovered the fun of acting with playing role-playing games.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's definitely part of it. Yeah, that's funny that you mentioned that because before I went to the school I went to, I actually was looking at an art major and a theater minor.
There you go.
Yeah, because I did a little bit of acting and theater in high school. And I'm glad I didn't go. Not to say that it's a bad choice, but just I think I made the right choice for me, basically. But so I like you said, I like the solitary environment of just working on my art and my stories and different things like that. So, with you on that one. Do you think you'd ever dabble with theater like again?
Oh yeah, because a lot of my friends ended up doing something in that field. Either, they started their own little company and they've done some stuff on the side. But that was all the time that I've been living in the United States, so I could never really go. But if they were to ever ask me, "Hey, Lex, do you want to work on this or do that?" then I would definitely say yes. Nice. And I would also I would also warn them and say that I was probably terrible at this point in comparison to them, because they actually got formal training and I went on to draw. So
Yeah.
But I definitely I like doing that kind of stuff. I like doing like voice acting, and it's basically just an excuse to be silly,
Oh, for sure.
but for a purpose. So that's always good. That was the whole reason why I liked theater class to begin with. Is like there was an environment where I could be silly, and people actually encouraged it, and they think it was great if it worked within the scene.
Well, that's true.
So so now I can actually live my theater kid life as playing Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that with my friends, and because that's the same friend group that we were all in theater class together. So imagine that we're a bunch of theater kids just playing role playing games. We get really into it sometimes.
Okay. Yeah. No. That's a lot of my friends in high school were in theater as well, and we played D&D and role playing games. And part of the fun of it was when you could get into the characters and just really embellish and make the scenes just a lot of fun,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think last time we did the retreat, a bunch of the guys did a role playing session. So maybe we'll try it again this time.
Yeah, we did. We played. Reese tried to run one, and it was good, but we started kind of late, and but we had one. We had fun. Maybe we'll do another one this session.
Nice.
What did you guys play?
Sorry?
What did you guys play exactly?
Oh, D&D.
D&D?
Yeah.
Just D&D.
Just D&D. I'm a big Warhammer fan, so I'm like, okay, sure. I'll slum it as D&D. I'm a big nerd for that stuff. But I don't know.
Right on.
You plan to stay in New Jersey?
For now. If there's one thing I've learned is you never know where life takes you.
Oh, 100%. That's true.
So, like, I'm not. I used to be very. Well, I'm sure Sam would probably disagree with me. I used to be very stubborn. I'm still stubborn in a lot of ways. But if there's one thing that I have changed
my... I understand that. Trust me. We're very.
If there's one thing that I have changed my attitude about is that whether or not I'm going to stay here, it's like, we'll see. If it makes sense. If not, then have
you traveled back home at all since you moved over to Jersey?
Oh yeah, I go at least once a year for the holidays.
Oh, that's awesome. Nice. That's good.
So even with COVID and everything, which has been a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
God, it's been the absolute worst.
No,
don't travel during COVID time. It's the worst.
Yeah, traveling is challenging. Talking about taking all the fun out of travel.
But I definitely missed. Once I was there, I was like, oh man, I missed this.
Oh yeah,
traveling so much.
For sure. No.
So I might go back one day. Be closer to the family, be closer to my friends back home.
So do you have a lot of?
I definitely miss that. Home? Yeah.
Oh, nice.
We got here.
See, that's the weird thing about the United States is that, at least in my experience, having been through a school that attracted people from all over the world, is that eventually everybody just dispersed and left.
Yeah.
And I stayed. So it's like, it gets a little.
The beauty of it is you can work from anywhere in the world, right?
That's true.
That's the wonderful part about what you're doing right now. As long as you get your foot in the door, you can really just then pick up your computer and work anywhere else that you want.
Yeah.
Really.
And that's definitely something I've made use of, traveling. Like whenever I go home and I had some downtime, I would just be working or doing something else. And you realize then it's like it doesn't really matter as much anymore whether or not you're in a particular location.
No, not at all.
It definitely helps to be close to venues like New York Comic Con and such.
For sure,
but it's not necessary anymore.
No, a lot of my career happened without going to shows. Like there were definitely benefits to going to some of the shows, but at the end of the day, a lot of the bigger moves I made were nothing to do with the cons I went to.
Right.
Yeah, so, because I did a lot of shows early on and I got nothing. And then I just knuckled down, did the work, and put it out there, and that's how things happened, So.
You see any movies recently, like The Batman?
The Batman.
Oh God, I'm terrible at that stuff. I have not seen any of those things. I think the most recent up to date pop culture thing that I've seen would be Dune, which I loved, which I thought was great.
Oh,
It looked
Dune.
beautiful.
Yeah, Dune was
Yeah,
beautiful. Yeah,
I
a
quite
bit
like that.
slow but beautiful. Yeah.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
Dune was-
No, I'm so stuck in. I'd rather watch old movies and old TV shows and play the same video game over and over again. But I honestly just haven't had the time to go out and see the Batman and stuff like that.
Yeah. Have you?
So that's really what it is.
What were some of the? I know you mentioned J. Scott Campbell
Mhm.
as an early inspiration. Do you have any other artists you've discovered either recently or
Oh man,
in the
there's so
years
many.
since that you kind of are blown away by and or really kind of you look at their work and go, man, I gotta like this is inspiring. I just want to draw. Well,
I gotta step it up. I suck. I gotta step it up. I get that all the time.
Yeah.
No, there's so many. Well, like if we're talking about something really really recent, I'm talking about and I can never pronounce her name right, so I'm very very sorry for this. But Bilquis Evelyn, who's the artist on
Not
she was the
familiar.
artist on Sandman, The Dreaming, and she just wrapped up Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, and
Oh, okay. I'm not
her
familiar with
her
her work.
line art is amazing. She's from Brazil, and she's one of those people who still does everything traditionally too, which makes it even more amazing because her line work is just bananas. It's just
Cool.
it's gorgeous. It's
Okay.
absolutely amazing. But that would be one of the more recent ones. One of the more staple artists that I've always looked up to was Matteo Scalera.
Oh, Mateo's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's such a sweet guy too. He's a real sweetheart. Obviously, like in that vein of artists, you got Matteo, you got Sean Murphy,
Hmm.
you got Eric Canetti,
Oh yeah.
and Sean Crystal too. Basically,
Yep.
it's like that's the whole reason why, and you too, by the way, is like when I saw your work on Tales of Sand, I didn't realize it was you. I didn't realize that you were the same guy who was behind
The
Kookaburra at the
Kookaburra
time.
guy.
Yeah, it's like I connected those dots way, way later. But I saw Tales of Sand in a very random shop in Belgium. I was working a
Oh,
festival in a coffee van, and I had a moment off, and I was just roaming around the town, and I found this amazing comic book shop that had Tales of Sand, the original first printing,
oh,
I
weird.
think.
That's kind of cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so that's how I found out about your work.
Oh, that's
But
cool.
yeah, it's like basically the first thing I do whenever I go to New York Comic Con is go to the Essential Sequential row because it's all the guys that I like are right there.
When I first joined, I was like intimidated. I was like, "Oh my god, these are
Oh,
all
I
my
bet.
heroes," and now I'm getting to see some of them.
Yeah.
You
I
know what
can
I mean?
imagine.
It was crazy, but
It was nice
also
to
inspiring.
hang out with them last weekend.
Yeah.
Like just to sit there and chat with Dave and Sean. Really
Yeah.
nice guys. Really nice guys.
No, 100%.
So that's definitely been one of the many many influences, and another one that's again not really related to comics, but that's what I mentioned before. Is I was a big Metal Gear Solid fan, so the concept artist for that, Yoshi Shinkawa, is also a huge influence on my work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's good
Very-
stuff.
That
No,
is
I mean,
good
there's so
stuff.
much inspiration around, right? Like it's hard.
Oh, there is. That's what I'm saying. It's like there's so much, and the list always keeps growing.
Oh yeah.
I love the monstrous artist Sana Takeda.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's great too.
Fantastic. She was so nice when I met her at TCAF. It was so nice. It's like, oh,
Oh,
you're
I
the
remember that. Yeah.
yeah, she's the best. I love her work.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a cool thing too. Like, I mean, it's funny how like when we were younger, it's like you have to like hunt down art to discover it. Now it's just like literally, you'll have new artists showing up in your feed all the time on whether it's Instagram or some other social media, and you're like, holy crap, where is it? Who's this person? Why haven't I heard from them yet?
Yeah.
You know.
Or
So
or it's
or-
that moment where you're like, well, I should probably just quit while I'm ahead.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
You
there's
know?
always that too. We all
We've
we all
all
get that
been
feeling
there.
every so often. No, for sure.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, but I think that also drives us on, right? Like
It
that's the
does.
stuff that that keeps you going sometimes.
I think it's a mixed bag. I think it's, at least for me, it's definitely a mixed bag.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying it's not intimidating for sure. Especially nowadays, I find artists are just getting better and better, younger and younger. Like, we did this show, like I said, a couple of weeks ago in Toronto here, and this girl who was, I think, 16 came by, was showing her portfolio.
Yeah.
And it was just phenomenal, like just beautiful painted work, and you're like, wow, like my skill set was not anywhere near that at that age. But I think it's because they have so much exposure, they can study so many techniques and learn from tutorials.
Yeah, they are at an advantage. Places. I believe they're definitely at an advantage in this day and age. But I mean, you still got to put the work in. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, oh no, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And the great thing about it is, if you do, I think you can see fast returns on whatever you're working on, and your ability just skyrocketing, because all the YouTube tutorials out there, and just like, I still watch them, like, because I'm always trying to get better and learn how to do things. Like, I was watching one on how to draw eyes, and I was like, oh, that's a great way. And I applied it today when I was working on some art.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, oh, that totally works. Why didn't I do this forever? Anyway.
Right. Don't you love that when it's like finding a new weapon in an RPG. It's like, this is amazing. I'm going to use this for everything now.
Well, I could have been doing this for so long. But anyway.
Yeah.
So. Now I'm designing borders in Photoshop against Ramon's will.
Well, I mean, you do it. Whatever works. Whatever works.
I know you'd take this in Illustrator and have it vectorized in a second. So,
I mean,
and maybe you'll end up doing that. So,
at least you are aware that you can, in fact, do that.
Yeah, he's aware.
I'm working with. Sorry.
The funny thing about young artists, and this is something that I've noticed mostly about new Hubert students. I don't know if that applies to everybody, but I've noticed that so many artists, they just immediately jump into digital.
And that's true.
And I feel like, I'm gonna sound like such an old lady saying this, but I'm like I feel like you're jumping a couple of steps ahead, because digital, yes, it's definitely a legitimate tool. I mean, we're using it right now.
Yeah.
But you definitely need to learn to put pencil on paper first and figure it out, quote unquote, in real life before you use all the bag of tricks that digital art allows you to have.
Yeah, I do look at a lot of portfolios for concept art for work, and one of the first things I look for is their how good are they at the fundamentals? Can they draw? Even I know it's digital, but I want to see line art. That's my jam. Yeah. If you can convince me at the line art stage, and you've designed something, and not only have you inspired me, but you've articulated it enough that I understand what I'm looking at. Say it's a gun, and they're like, oh, this is the weapon, this is the prop, this is the ammo for it, this is some of the effects. I'm like, you already got it figured out at that stage. Like, all the other stuff's just extra, like 3D and color. It's like, that's nice. That's just going to make it look beautiful. But if you can convince me at the line art stage, then you've got my attention. So a lot of artists don't understand that. They're like, oh, can I get some feedback on this? And I'm like, well, this is. You draw, like, this looks like a lot of photoshops and paintings, and that's nice and all, but like, you can fudge a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, it looks pretty.
Yeah, because everyone's a concept artist, so
yeah.
So, but can you draw? Are you good with the fundamentals? And I don't think that shows people are like, oh, how do I draw good? I'm like, well, learn perspective, anatomy, and draw from life. They're like, oh, well, that's boring. I know it's boring, but
you got to do it.
That's the key. There's no other quick way around it. You got to get good at that stuff. You got
to get through the boring to get to the fun sometimes.
Totally.
Yep.
You know.
And I feel that a lot of that is also happening in comics, where there's so many people using clip paint, and everybody's line work is starting to look the same.
Yeah,
like, I can immediately tell when something is done by clip paint most of the time. I think there's only a couple of exceptions. Like, I know Pepe Larraz, he does everything in clip paint, but it looks unique to his work.
Yeah, because there are definite default brushes that you can attach yourself to.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's why, like, even like on the comic I'm working here on Raid 4 is clip paint, but I'm purposely ignoring tools I normally use to try to give it a different feel. I would love to go back and do this more in traditional, but unfortunately, time, clip does save time. Like digital does save you time, unfortunately.
I know. Yeah, that's absolutely true.
But hopefully, in the near future, do
Well, I
something.
like these illustrations I'm doing for Sheldon are all digital, in clip and Photoshop. But the clip brushes are so great.
Yeah.
They feel so pencil-like and ink-like that I'm like, that's fantastic. So this is good enough this is what I want it to look like. And I can be faster this way. But for the next set of Arden prints that I want to do, I want to go like I did the first round. I want to go back to paper and ink because there's something about that I really like too. So
yeah, no, for sure.
And I don't want to give that up. I don't want to lose that either.
Yeah.
I don't think I will. I mean, but it's just. I just want to get familiar with that. I want to get my hands dirty. I want to, bust out that eraser. I'll definitely be using that. But
for sure. No.
And the funny thing is that because it's becoming more and more rare, you actually end up becoming, it's almost like something special now. It's like, oh, wait, you ink with an actual brush? And I'm just like, yeah. I'm like, there's plenty of people out.
Archaic tool that you're using.
Might as well just be using like a chisel.
Yeah,
I know, right?
It's funny. I remember it was only 10 years ago that my group of Hubert graduates, we all started out with just paper and pencils, and we had to like fix everything on the board itself. And if like something was too small, we had to go to the copying machine and like blow it up and then light box it and all that stupid stuff. And like the students today, they just go straight to clip paint and straight to Photoshop. And I'm like, you're missing something. You're missing a part of your education by just skipping that step.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
Anyway, well, that's my old lady rants for today.
Old lady rants. Love it. Well, I think we're reaching that hour.
Oh yeah, look at that.
I feel bad. I've only drawn 4 panels. Oh my god, so many more panels to draw.
It looks pretty cool, though, Ramon. I can't wait to see it done in about 3 months.
3 months.
I'm just joking. You know how slow I am. I'm just joking. Come on, it take forever, but it's looking sharp, fella. So.
Oh, thank you very much.
I like your story idea too. It's really neat. So.
Thank you.
Looking forward to reading it.
Yeah.
Me too. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, where's the best way for people to find you, Alexia? What is the best way? Is it Instagram? Is it CG Hub? Is it ArtStation? Stuff like that.
It's definitely Instagram is where I am the most active. So that is at Lexa Musa. That's Lex A Moose A, all one word. You can tell I've done that before. It's actually funny.
I was walking by on Queen Street, and I found a door that said Ruby Musa.
Hey, look at that.
I wonder if they're related.
No, not at all. I am on ArtStation as well. I think it's just my name, Alexia Veldhuisen, art or something like that. I'm sure y'all put it in the description.
Yeah, the links are down there for people who are interested for your Instagram, your Facebook page. I think maybe your ArtStation you gave me the link for, and also, most importantly, for your Kickstarter, which is in the last 48 hours, I think it was. Do you guys have any stretches going that people could know about, or any cool extras? Or is it all just going in your pocket to help you draw?
Any extra money is going to go into issue 4 because we want to keep it going.
Nice. Yeah. That's awesome to hear. Okay, that's great. So you heard it here. Let's get this lady drawing comics.
What do we got here, Sarah? You got a job at Skype. Oh, right on.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
There you
go.
Nice. Congrats on that, Sarah. That's wicked.
Yeah, big congrats. That's awesome.
Yeah. So cool. I mean, so awesome to have you on here.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
And hopefully maybe we'll catch you if you guys do New York Comic Con, if something else. I'm not sure. There's lots of shows out there, so hopefully that book gets out there, get more artists alley tables, and get your work seen, because that's.
We're gonna keep fighting the good fight. We're gonna keep trying.
Go over there and support her, everybody.
Yeah.
Check out that Kickstarter. And while you're on Kickstarter, slide on over to Raid 4.
Don't forget to check out Raid 4, guys. They got some amazing awards. They got some amazing stretch goals already unlocked. So,
dealer's choice, Rob. You pick.
We'll keep trucking. Anyway, so next Monday, next Monday we're off. We're taking a break.
At the raid retreat.
That's right. We're taking a break, a bit of a breather, but we'll be back 2 weeks from now, and we're excited to have. I think it might be Dax Gordon might be joining us actually.
What's that?
I think Dax might be joining us again because we'll be launching his Forest Folk 2.
That's right.
Yeah. So no pressure, Dax. You're going to be here. So awesome.
And Sarah's like, Raid 5 hasn't started. Oh.
What?
let us breathe for a week.
Who's saying this? What's going on? Oh my
God!
We'll
talk about it.
I'm sure
we'll talk Raid 5 at the retreat or not.
Yeah, we definitely will. All right, everybody.
Anyway, Alexia, nice meeting you. Great talking to you. Thanks everyone that came along for the ride here.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing what you do. Thanks for making shit on Monday.
See you later, everybody. Ciao.